An area Walmart store fully moves to self-checkout. We look at steps you can take to protect yourself from COVID-19 while sheltering from a storm.
The director of the FBI testifies for the first time about the January attack on the Capitol. I'm Natalie Brand with what he says about the assault and the intelligence received beforehand.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A local Walmart store goes to all self-checkouts. This is KOAM News at 5. The Walmart neighborhood market at Stone's Corner in Joplin no longer has traditional registers. Instead, Walmart tells us they remodeled the store to offer 12 self-checkouts and 1 pay station. Before, there were 7 traditional lines and 4 self-checkouts. Walmart tells us no associates were let go. Instead, they were made self-checkout hosts or moved to online grocery pickup. We spoke with a few customers to hear what they think of the change.
I like it because when I come here, I take my little sisters, so they can do it too because they think it's cool that it beeps.
It's nice just to be able to go in there, just slide your stuff, get in and get out. But I hope if they do that with the machines, I hope they at least use those employees maybe to do the grocery pickups.
The Walmart Supercenter in Miami, Oklahoma is shifting to mostly self-checkouts, but there will still be 4 traditional lanes. We're going to have more tonight and hear from an organization that helps people with disabilities. Brings us to today's KOAM News Now Insta poll. We're asking, how do you feel about self-checkout at stores? Do you like it or not? You can vote at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app. Results are updated live and we're going to check in on them a little bit later. This is Severe Weather Preparedness Week and today is Tornado Safety Day. As part of that, statewide tornado drills were held in Kansas and Missouri, encouraging everyone to practice what to do in the event of an actual tornado. Students at Joplin High School took part in the drill, but with the coronavirus still a risk, it raises the question of how to take shelter and still be safe from the spread.
The discussion has been, if you go into the you go into the shelter, obviously we have a mask mandate at the school. That is still in place. Even though the city's has expired, the school policy is, to mask.
Tonight at 6, we're going to hear more about the school's drill today and from the Jasper County Emergency Manager, Keith Stammer, about social distancing in shelters. Checking in with Nick Kelly right now. No severe weather anytime in the near future anyway, Nick.
No, nothing at all, Dow, especially for today when all we had was mostly sunny skies to enjoy, and that really allowed temperatures to soar into the middle to upper 50s across the region. If we want to look out to the west over the next few days, that's our weather. No big systems on the immediate horizon, so we're going to enjoy a few more quiet days before things start to change around here. Upper 50s to near 60. Certainly mild out there for some as we get this evening started, but once we get past sunset, we're going to quickly cool down again through the 40s by 8 o'clock, down to the upper 30s for most tonight. Again, quiet and mild for the next few days, Dow, but I am watching rain chances on the way. We'll break that down for you here in a bit.
All right, we'll see you then. Thanks, Nick. 13 people are dead after a semi-truck crashed into an SUV carrying 25 people on a Southern California highway. 12 people died at the scene, which is about 11 miles north of the U.S.-Mexico border, and another died after arriving at the hospital. Officials say the SUV stopped at an intersection before turning into the path of the semi. Authorities are unsure why the SUV was carrying 25 people. FBI Director Christopher Wray is testifying before Congress for the first time since the January 6th insurrection. Reporter Natalie Brand has more details from Capitol Hill.
FBI Director Christopher Wray says the Bureau sent out a warning of violence ahead of the January 6th Capitol insurrection as soon as the information became available.
Even though it sounded somewhat aspirational in nature and was unverified, the smartest thing to do, the most prudent thing to do was just to push it to the people who needed to get it. And as I said, that happened 3 different ways.
Wray says the FBI has been working around the clock to identify the people involved in the attack, with more than 300 arrested so far.
That attack, that siege, was criminal behavior, plain and simple, and it's behavior that we, the FBI, view as domestic terrorism.
Lawmakers also want to know what the Bureau is doing to address the ongoing threat from domestic violent extremist groups, including white supremacists.
Racially motivated violent extremism, specifically of the sort that advocates for the superiority of the white race is a persistent, evolving threat. It's the biggest chunk of our racially motivated violent extremism cases for sure.
A new report from George Washington University identified 33 suspects with military backgrounds. 36% of those with military ties were linked to extremist groups, including the Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, and 3%ers. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Security officials had previously reported intelligence suggesting some Trump supporters might be eyeing March 4th as the true inauguration date with the potential for protests. However, the House Sergeant at Arms issued new security guidance suggesting that is no longer likely because of declining interest among extremist groups. The U.S. Supreme Court today heard arguments on challenges to two Arizona voting laws that could have implications across the country. The case focuses on out-of-precinct ballots and the handling of early ballots. Advocates worry the laws will limit access to the polls, particularly for communities of color. But critics say it's common sense election integrity protection. A ruling is expected by the end of June. 6 Dr. Seuss books are on their way to becoming rarities. Dr. Seuss Enterprises announces it will no longer sell the books because they, quote, portray people in ways that are hurtful and wrong. That statement was released today on Dr. Seuss's birthday. The affected books are And Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street, If I Ran the Zoo, McGillicuddy's Pool, On Beyond Zebra, Scrambled Egg Super, and The Cat's Quizzer. A little bit later, the pandemic's impact on business.
Small businesses are closing by the thousands. I'm Michael George with how in some communities, friends, customers, and even complete strangers are stepping up to help.
And next in Health Watch, a look at the long-term respiratory effects some former COVID-19 patients are dealing with. An estimated 6.2 million Americans ages 65 and over have Alzheimer's disease. That's according to the new Alzheimer's Association Facts and Figures report, which also shows 2/3 of those patients are women. The report also finds deaths from Alzheimer's have more than doubled over the past 2 decades. New research finds eating more fruit and veggies can help you live longer. According to the American Heart Association, people should aim to consume 2 servings of fruit and 3 servings of vegetables per day. They found leafy green vegetables and fruits containing high levels of beta-carotene and vitamin C slashed their risk of death and chronic disease. People who ate 10 servings of fruits and vegetables daily saw a 10% decrease of death from cancer and a 35% lower risk of death from respiratory disease. COVID-19, it's a virus that takes your breath away. Initially thought to be a disease that severely impacts only the elderly, now 40 and 50-year-olds who suffered mild symptoms are showing up at the doctor's office with debilitating symptoms. It's officially called post-acute COVID syndrome, and some of those COVID long haulers fear they might never get better. Jeff Ingman likes to work hard and play hard.
Probably was in some of the best shape of my life.
Then, just as he started his latest project, this 58-year-old was hit hard by COVID.
The fatigue, I was really drained and, could hardly get out of bed.
After a few weeks, Jeff recovered. Then,
COVID caused some abscesses in my lungs.
10 months later, Jeff, like some people diagnosed with COVID, is still dealing with COVID brain fog, weakness, extreme fatigue, migraines, mini strokes, heart issues, shortness of breath, fever, coughs, body aches, stiff joints, and balance issues. The CDC reports up to 35% of those infected endure symptoms lasting beyond 3 weeks.
These are totally healthy people.
One theory, COVID kicks the immune system into overdrive and stays in overdrive even after the virus is gone, damaging other organs. The big question, how long will the symptoms last?
I don't know how long these will last. I typically am seeing is they're slowly getting better. I haven't seen anybody plateau and not improve yet.
As for Jeff, 10 months later, he says he has good and bad days.
It's not going away like I thought it would. You kind of wonder if are you ever going to get better?
In autopsy reports of COVID patients, doctors are finding damage to not just the lungs, but the heart, brain, kidney, and liver, suggesting that COVID is much more than a respiratory disease. Mount Sinai has opened a center for post-COVID in New York with 40 doctors dedicated to studying and treating long haulers. They're modeling the center after what they did for first responders after 9/11, treating a large group of people after a catastrophic event. But they say this, of course, is on a much, much larger scale. Using cannabis to treat migraines may do more harm than good, according to a new study from the American Academy of Neurology. Researchers found that marijuana may actually be associated with rebound headaches, which happen when patients overuse pain medication. Nick Kelly is up next with his complete forecast, and a little bit later, details on a discrimination lawsuit filed against Amazon.
Our Tuesday turned out to be a pretty good one after we had kind of a cold start and once again this morning. Yesterday wasn't so bad either. We topped out in the lower to middle 50s, upper 20s once again this morning, but look at how much warmer we got today, close to 60 at Joplin Regional. So everyone was almost mild today, and we got a few more mild days ahead of us to enjoy before we see better rain chances on the way. Speaking of, one system clipped us just to our south. Fortunately, any meaningful moisture with that, if you did want any rain today, stayed just to the south across central parts of Arkansas. So we are sitting nice underneath mostly sunny skies, and of course nothing on the radar network scanning the skies as we continue on through this evening. Looking outside from our station's rooftop, can't beat that view. Mostly sunny skies as far as the eye can see. 58 in Joplin with a west breeze at 13. We've had gusts earlier pushing over 20 miles per hour, and we warmed up once again without a problem today because of that low humidity, sitting at 25%. Elsewhere around the region, we had everybody starting out in the middle to upper 20s this morning, then wasted no time getting into the mid-50s already by lunchtime. And now we're sitting some spots in the lower 60s once you go west of 69, like 63 in Fredonia, 58 on the other hand in Carthage, while Neosho is sitting at 57. An easy rebound with the warm temperatures and the dry air, also because of a southwesterly wind at about 5 to 15 miles per hour throughout the day. That breeze is going to lighten up a little bit tonight, and with the setting sun, it is going to turn cooler again into the 40s by 8 o'clock, upper 30s for overnight lows before we head into Wednesday. Skywatch Storm Tracker, once again, not much to speak across the central plains. At the surface, we have a low to our west and a high to our southwest, and in between, both working together to keep that southwest wind in play for tonight and tomorrow. And speaking of tomorrow, it's all about that upper level ridge, and that will also be the case for Thursday to keep us nice and mild before we see that next low out in the Pacific, that California low, start to head our way. In the short term, though, nothing to worry about for tonight. It's smooth sailing with mostly clear skies, but again, once we get past sunset, even though we'll have that southwest breeze of 5 to 10 in place, it's going to be another cold start, this time around in the upper 30s for overnight lows. I think Joplin starts around 38. Looking ahead through the rest of the day tomorrow, another beauty. Let's go 62 by lunchtime with the southwest breeze at 5 to 15, and highs around Joplin at least pushing near 68. I'm thinking everybody's fair game to go into the upper 60s tomorrow, and I would not be surprised in some of our western areas if we see a random 70-degree high before the day is all said and done. Again, it's all because of that upper-level ridge keeping us quiet for tomorrow and Thursday. Then once we go into Friday, that's when we'll see that low out across the Pacific start to head our way. That'll bring in better rain chances for Friday. Then the rest of the weekend's looking okay, quiet for Saturday and Sunday. Early next week, we'll keep things quiet for Monday before we stick with Doug's pattern and see another front head our way with maybe some thunderstorms to keep an eye on by next Tuesday. But the next few days, they look great. 68 tomorrow, 67 Thursday. With the clouds and the rain Friday, the best we can do is highs around 52, but we're back near 60 for Saturday and Sunday and staying in the 60s going into early next week, Dow.
Yeah, upper 60s, near 70 in the coming days. Sounds great.
Absolutely. I mean, not what we usually see for early March, but we'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Nick. Coming up, some communities come together to help struggling businesses. First, though, we honor a local veteran. Jay Hood served in the U.S. Army for 37 years, from 1975 to 2012. Pittsburgh native was stationed in Cuba, Iraq, and Afghanistan, and we salute Major General Jay Hood, a four-state hero. A lawsuit accuses Amazon of discrimination. The suit was brought on behalf of Charlotte Newman, a black woman who worked as a manager at the e-commerce giant. The suit alleges the company has a practice of hiring black employees into lower roles than their qualifications merit, creating an unequal playing field. Newman also says she was sexually harassed by a former executive at Amazon. 3 in 10 small businesses say they won't survive without more federal assistance. Reporter Michael George shows us how across the country, regular people are going to great lengths to keep their favorite establishments open for business.
Ian Braverman didn't want to see any more closed signs go up in his neighborhood, so he did something about it.
So I came up with this idea where I was like, it'd be great if I could see if there's interest from the community to help, just give a small donation, a small gift to all these hardworking people that, feed our community.
That small act got a big response. $14,000 in donations to help 25 restaurants in his Northbrook, Illinois community.
He really made my day.
Nick Drivis, owner of the Grill House restaurant, couldn't believe it when Ian, a complete stranger, walked in with a check.
His act of kindness in doing that and trying to help the restaurants. When he came into my restaurant, I was kind of overwhelmed with gratitude for what he had done.
With federal aid lacking for businesses hurt by the pandemic, ordinary people are stepping up. In Watertown, Massachusetts, employees and customers raised nearly $50,000 to keep this diner afloat.
Thank you very much.
This restaurant in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania got a boost from community donations through a Barstool Sports fundraiser.
It makes me feel that there is good humans in the world. There's people that care about the everyday person.
Ian Braverman says pitching in during difficult times is what Americans do.
Just knowing that all these people they're hard workers, this is their livelihood. So we stand to lose these people that have dedicated their life to things like this.
He believes without community support, we risk losing businesses that are the cornerstones of our community. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
In many cases, community support's only part of the solution. A Fed survey in the fall found 44% of small businesses are more than $100,000 in debt. The pandemic has been problematic for working women across America. More than 2 million have left the workforce since February of last year. But some states are better than others. According to Wallet Hub, Minnesota, Maine, and Vermont are the best states for women. The personal finance site weighed several key metrics, including unemployment rates and median earnings. Final check of the forecast next. The CBS Evening News is next. Then on KOAM News at 6, the National Weather Service says a tornado warning was issued in error this morning. Plus, we're going to look at the policies around testing tornado sirens as area communities prepare for storm season. And the Jasper County Health Department hosts a mass vaccine clinic in Carthage. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. All right, let's take another look at our KOAM News Now Insta poll. We're asking, how do you feel about self-checkout at stores? At this point, 28%, or 20% rather, only 1 in 5 say they like it. The rest, 80%, they don't like it. Still have plenty of time to vote at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We're going to keep this open through the evening. You can also go to the KOAM News Now mobile app. Let's check in with Nick Kelly again for our final look at this beautiful weather. Nick.
Beautiful weather will continue for a few more days now before we see rain chances on Friday. Before it gets here, though, a high of 68 tomorrow. I would not be surprised if some spots hit 70. Upper 60s again on Thursday. Then the only bump of the weekend is the Friday rain before we're back near 60 Saturday and Sunday.
Thanks, Nick, and thank you for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. And, of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.